There's quite a bit of magic in this book. There's some specific magical rules. So when did you sit down and start doing that world building? Did you need to do that up front, or did it come to you as you wrote the story and then you refined it a bit?
For the world building, I think it was a general world at first when I'm drafting. So I'm definitely not a pantser. I can't just sit and just write and plot out as I'm going. I need to do all of that beforehand. And so I usually write out an outline of like what goes on in each chapter. So before I get to that point, I sort of need a general sense of what the world will be like, what sort of magic powers there are. And so I do all of that before I start to write. And then I write the first draft. After that, I sort of refine um, the world a bit and add more details in, because I think the first draft, it just helps me figure out the story and, kind of go from there. It's like a starting board.
Gotcha. So when you're done, did you sit down and literally write the whole outline, including the ending? This is what's going to happen specifically in each chapter. Or did it start a little bit vaguer than that and then became more detailed as you went?
Oh, it much bigger than that. So what I mean is my outline is not, super detailed. It's maybe like chapter one, Leah Leah sneaks out to the birthday party, but then I won't know how she does that until I start writing. But it's just basic, events that happen. That's my outline. Basic events that happen. And then once I get to writing, usually I try to think of, okay, this is the goal for this chapter. Like she needs to do this. So then I try to figure out like the most exciting way, the funnest way for her to do this. And that's sort of how I start drafting. So yeah, I don't really have an idea exactly all the details of what will happen before. I kind of go with the flow as I'm drafting.
Gotcha. Okay, so you've got some idea planned ahead, not everything, but you can go ahead. You've got enough information. You can at least write that first chapter, and then by the end of that, maybe have some more ideas for the future.
Yeah, so it's basically I know what needs to happen in the chapter, but not how it happens or all the details around it. Just this should happen here.
Gotcha.
Like discovers clue one, but I don't know how until I start writing.
When I check, I work a little bit similarly, and then sometimes in my outline I'll just write something like "put something brilliant here," which is so helpful because then
Yeah.
if you look at it like, "Oh, wonderful," let me let me get right on
Yes.
it for you.
Yes, I totally agree. In draft one, there's a lot of something happens here, and then, but it helps like just to get it down so that like during revisions, like you're a writer too, so you just keep adding layers to the book to the story.
Yeah, no, eventually it's the book is due, and that's the final draft, which they take it away from you. But there were more layers that could have gone.
Yeah.
So how long did from the date you sat down to start to you start querying with your finished manuscript? How long did it take you to get that book together?
Mm, I would say about a year, maybe a little less. When I started the book, I was pregnant with my second, and my goal was to finish this book and before I go to the hospital, send it off to agents, query agents, and send it off. And everyone says it takes so long for them to come back, and you can send it in batches. So my plan was to send the first batch out, and you know, go have my baby, and then hopefully in like a few months, I'll hear back from them, and I'll be at a place where I can, um, send a full manuscript or submit the second batch of queries to different agents. So I would say it took me about a year from like plotting it out, brainstorming to like writing and then revising.